Now tell me what you see.
Me?
You see you?
Oh, no, but I see.
We're live. It says we're live. Dawn will be the tester. Dawn will be the tester. Oh yeah, it says we are streaming. All right. Are you keeping up with us? Really? Why has there been a delay on all that? Oh, I'm so confused. All right. It's about as bad as the one I told you about earlier. And we should, just in case people are starting to filter in, which we won't be able to see, but Dawn will because she's the magician. Oh, we are. Yeah, Debbie says we are live. She can see you.
Debbie
Let's
Weber.
just get it out of the way, Shawna. Are you nervous tonight?
I'm doing better now. I'm not too nervous.
No, I'm a little nervous.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little nervous every time I do this.
It's putting yourself out there.
Mm-hmm.
Good at it.
It is. You know, if things go bad, it's a reflection on me.
No, they go bad. We're in it together.
We are. Mm-hmm. We're in it to win it. So then you are going to tell us some good stuff tonight, some nice positive messages. Your philosophy, which is always rainbows and sunshine, right?
A couple unicorns tousled in there for
some magic fairy dust.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And we did not color coordinate. This happened by accident, that we actually are kind of matchy-matchy. Mm-hmm. And let's see, I have my list of questions, which I did send you in advance. You did get to get those, so you know what's going on. And we still have a couple minutes. So are you from your home office tonight?
I am from my home office, and I have my work buddy over there in the corner. Here's my sad story. So I have this puppy. He's not a puppy. He's like 13. We're not exactly sure how old he is because he was adopted. And his back legs don't work all that well anymore. And this morning when we were on our accountability calls at 8:30, he was trying to get upstairs because he likes to be by me. And he only made it halfway up and his back legs failed. And so I'm on the call and I'm hearing him tumble down the stairs. So, but he's all good now. I just carry him upstairs and carry him downstairs. And
how much does he weigh?
He's probably 50 pounds.
Oh my God.
He's a collie, so he's a lot of hair. It's hard to.
Mm-hmm. Aww. That's too bad.
He's my little sweetheart.
He's living his best life at home with mama.
He's living his best life. Yeah. COVID
brought him his best life.
Yeah.
Antoinette Neal is here saying hello.
Hello, Antoinette.
Thanks for joining us.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, it's 6:30. You know me, I like to be on time. So
yeah. And Antoinette is also a video rock star. She might be someone good.
Oh, we could do a little joint thing. Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
Let's see. All right. Well, it is Wednesday. It is the Real Estate Roundtable. And tonight, I'm so pleased and honored to be here with Shawna Alt. She is I heard infamous is a bad word, but I always think of it like you're so famous, like everybody knows you. Shawna is Vice President and Regional Sales Manager at First Weber. And I think to know Shawna is to love her. And she just leaves everybody with such a glowy feeling, a happy, positive day. Do you feel that accurately describes you?
I think I have my moments when I shine in that area. Yeah. Then, I also have other feelings I can bestow upon people, but I do. I have a very positive outlook. The world is what you make of it. Right. And I also am a huge believer in the energy you put out is the energy you get back.
That's really, and you can kind of tell that it's really empowering to take that choice in life, isn't it? Yeah. That, you choose to see the bright side of things. You choose to have joy and peace.
Yeah.
I think that's very powerful.
And happiness is definitely a choice, right? It's all about
it is. It is. Mm-hmm. It is. I I learned that far too late in life, but it is better this way. So with that being said, would you like to do your own introduction? Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. What would you like to know? Like
I don't know.
my professional
I-
background?
Yeah, sure. Yes. Talk about that.
Sure. So let's see. I got into real estate in 1993. I have a degree in psychology. And with that, I became a really fantastic waitress and a mentor of mine and close family friend of the family, Jim Emhoff, was also a very good friend of my mother's, who was in real estate, owned her own company, Lucan's Realty, in Prairie du Sac, Wisconsin. And I said I would never in a million years be involved in real estate. I was going to save the manatees. I was going to be a marine biologist. But that involves math, oddly enough, and science. And so instead I went into psychology, became a waitress. I had a meeting with Jim and he said, you know what, you might as well try this because what else you got going on? And that was the beginning. Started out as a personal assistant, then worked on my own. I took a little break from, it would have been First Realty at the time, and actually went to work for the Wisconsin Realtors Association, taught real estate license law for about 7 years, and then came back as a selling manager in Prairie du Sac in 2004. And in 2015, I took the current role that I have today as a vice president, regional sales manager. So I work with about 30 managers around the state, about 600 agents. Nancy is one of my star people. I get to talk to her all the time. And I absolutely love my job and love my company and love the people that make this company up. It's just a really wonderful place to be every day.
I would have to agree with that. So off and on, you've been with First Weber for 27 years?
Sure.
Well,
Yeah.
Someone getting credit?
Math in their head. Yeah, crazy.
I could save a manatee. Because I know how to do math, I guess. I don't know. I'm not making fun of you. I'm really not, especially because performance appraisals are right around the corner.
Right, exactly.
Let's see. Okay, so I think you already answered one question. What did you want to be when you were growing up? You wanted to be a marine biologist.
A marine biologist.
Wow.
Save the manatees. If you've ever seen a manatee, they're these lovely, peaceful animals, right? They don't have any natural predators. They just swim and eat and play and sleep all day and hang out with their babies and their friends. And they're just.
I'd like to come back as a manatee.
Yeah.
Are they being hunted? Are they hunted?
No, they mostly get killed by boats.
Oh.
Yeah, that hit them with their props, but they are now off the endangered species list. So in some strange way, I'll take credit for that, and that I did end up saving them. So
all that energy, all that good energy you put out there for them.
Right, that's right.
For sure.
Exactly.
Okay, so and you might have also answered this one. Your first real job out of high school or college, the one that paid the bills, was that waitressing?
It was waitressing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you like it?
You know, I liked waitressing. I didn't like the hours, right? I didn't like having to work weekend nights and all holiday nights. But what's wonderful about being a waitress is it's very much a family. You become very, very close to your coworkers. You have to work really well with your coworkers. There's a lot of stress. I think if you are a good wait person, you can do anything, right? And especially if you're a good wait person, you have all the ability to be fantastic in real estate because it really is similar skill sets. Helping you, yeah. But you have to be able to handle stress. You have to be able to multitask. You have to be able to negotiate, right? Because you're negotiating a situation between the people at the table that want their steak and they want it now, and the cooking line that messed up, or the cooking line that, you're so far behind on orders. And it's just, there's a lot of parallels in a very strange way. So I did like it.
I liked your comment about how you were never going to be in real estate, because Tom Weber said that as well. And when you think about it though, like what you saw from the outside about real estate, what don't you think that was more like the hours and, the stuff that you have to deal with? But then when you get in real estate, you're like, love the people, I mean, it never feels like a job to
Right.
me. It's
Well,
just,
and I can't speak for Tom Weber because we've never actually talked about this. So I'll have to have the conversation with him. But growing up in the business, right? So he grew up in the business. I grew
yeah,
up in the business. And at that point in time, you had parents that didn't have any other way to communicate with their clients other than the telephone,
yes,
right? So either they were physically at the office on the phone or they were at your house, right, on the phone. And it never failed that people are calling during dinner. And so I remember very few meals growing up where we sat down as a family because my mom was working so hard. She has the most amazing work ethic that has trickled down to myself and my brother and ultimately my boys. Um, but it's a really, really hard job at that time. I think to try and do that and raise a family
hmm,
was a great big challenge. Now, I mean, there's still obviously lots of challenges, but because of technology and the fact that you can sit at your kid's track meet and negotiate a counteroffer on your phone, and then you like put the phone down for 30 seconds while they, run their 200-meter dash, and then, cheer them on, woohoo, and then you pick your phone back up and carry on with business. It allows you to really be present in the lives of your family or other people that are important, but it really also allows you to continue to serve your clients at a very high level.
yeah. I have to say, when I started, we were we were just starting to fax when I started in real estate. If you want to date me, that's where I go. And so I thought that was like the thing right there, like, oh my gosh, this is saving so much time. But then, faxes, you couldn't read them. They'd be faxed 3 times and, barely legible. So I do remember those days. And, that the technology has saved us time, but I still like to talk to people. I really love to be with people talking through problems. I think being there, for me, is so much more fun. I feel like you're feeling the energy. You talk about the energy. I think you're feeling the energy and you're also giving some out of your own. And just that dynamic, you miss it during text. You don't get that in a text message or an email. So if I can't be there in person, I really love to pick up the phone and call. That's me. All right, let's talk about you. We're going to get into the questions now, Shawna.
Okay.
All right. What has evolved this year to be your philosophy about life or real estate in general?
So many lessons this year, right? That absolutely everyone has learned. One of the things that we did in October is we brought in a psychologist, Michael Staver, to talk to all of our agents because it's been a haul, right? And there are a couple of things that he said that really have stayed with me and have helped me to focus on everything that we need to keep doing to keep moving forward. But one of the things he said that I absolutely loved was that we need to stay firm on our results. We need to be flexible with our strategy, and we need to be quick in our action. And I didn't really realize this, prior to him saying that. But as a company, as we've moved through everything we've moved through since March, this is exactly what we have done is, COVID hits, everything comes to a standstill. We didn't really miss a beat. We stayed focused on where we needed to go. We stayed focused on the needs of our agents. But what changed was how we did that, right? And it's, this forum that we're in right now, that has really been a game changer for us. The whole idea of video conferencing, which is technology that we've had at our fingertips for, I don't know, probably 5 years plus, right? But we never used it.
Right.
And we were able to take that and create, literally a whole different way to do business. And we did it very quickly. We went from being a traditional, bricks and mortar, show up to the office every day company to a virtual company in 3 days. didn't miss a beat. It was quite amazing. It's a huge testament to our technology department, what we call our help desk. It's just, today, it still amazes me that we were able to do that and continue on like we did.
And I talk about this a lot, is how proud I am to have been, involved with a company who never lost a footstep in this whole thing this year. And, we supported all of our agents, no matter what their decisions were, to, how to work and how to go forward. But just taking overnight the tools that we had that we weren't used to using and
Right.
putting them in motion, it was almost seamless. It seemed too easy. So that's kudos to the forward thinking. I've always said First Weber is on the edge. We're always on the leading edge of things. And I think that's just proof, that we were ready to run. And we have great people. We have great people.
The team that we have is, again, I'm at a loss of words, because how everyone pulled together to keep everything moving forward, as you said, completely seamless, is just, it's amazing to me. And that is, every single one of our admins, every single manager in every office, everyone at our corporate resource center, both in Madison and Milwaukee, all of our agents, that, people pulled up and, did things above and beyond that needed to be done without question, without, it was everyone raising their hand, what can I do to help? And then heads down, getting it done. It's impressive.
It was collaboration at its finest. It really was the best example of that. I love that. And I'm giggling when you said we brought in a psychologist to speak to our agents, because I was like, man, did we need that? Yeah, and we recorded it. So, hey, agents, it's out there.
It is out there. Watch it. He's good.
Watch it again. Yes. Okay. A lot of people had to make choices this year about if and how they were going to conduct their business. What things do you think influenced those decisions?
So this is, again, going back to Michael Staver, who put into words how we had been acting. And this has also been really helpful for me because you have lots of different viewpoints, right, on what has been happening. And people are behaving in different ways. They're very passionate about their thought processes. And our job, Nancy, you and I, has been to navigate, right, all of this and try and figure out a way to keep everyone moving in the same direction when their motives might be a little bit different, if that makes sense. And so what Mike talked about was the idea of this triangle, and that people are looking at the world through different perspectives, right? And we all have heard the phrase that, your perception is your reality. And so once you can start to understand how someone is perceiving the world, it helps you understand why they're making the decisions they're making, and then why they're behaving the way they're behaving. And then we can start to communicate on a level of understanding instead of I'm right, you're wrong, type of viewpoint, which never works anyways. So what Mike talked about is the different ways that people are perceiving things right now is either through the perception of health, freedom, or money. And so if you look at that and someone is viewing things through a health perspective, right? Oh, my computer wants to reboot. I'm going to say no.
Please say no.
Yeah. So if someone wants to look at things through a health perspective, then they're all good with the social distancing. They're all good with the masks. They're all good with, washing their hands. If someone is looking at it through a freedom perspective, right, then they want the ability to have autonomy and to control things their way. And if someone is looking at through the money perspective, it's, what do I need to do in order to pay my rent or pay my mortgage? So once you understand how someone is viewing the world, it allows you to communicate with them in a way that makes them comfortable with the choices they're making and the choices that we're making as a company. Because really in the end, what we want to do is get through this. And we've got this light at the end of the tunnel that we can all see now. And we know if we can just continue to stay the path, we're all going to get there. And, by this time, next year, hopefully this is just some fond memory that we all have.
I don't know if it'll be fond.
I don't know if it will
Although
be.
you and I did talk about, quite candidly, we talked with each other about the actual opportunities that this year has presented.
Yeah.
And I think we talk about that in a little bit here, so I will not jump the gun. Sorry.
Okay.
Just seemed to be.
I'm not really looking at my notes, so you can go wherever you want.
I just think, it's funny because I almost feel guilty about saying it, but I have had such a great year. I feel so much less pressure. So many things I didn't have to do. I didn't even have to say no. It just didn't happen. Choices I didn't have to make. It made my life so much easier because it was me, home, and work, and very little stuff to do with my family. Although my son got married and I did get to see some family, and I still continue to be involved in my granddaughter's life, and everybody is trying to go about it safely. But at that point, it's like you realize how, we have all these people in our circles, and you realize really who is in that real tight, small circle.
Yeah.
And I do feel guilty for saying it, but I have enjoyed this year. Once I got over the shock of it, and there's still things I miss. I really miss my clients. I miss hugging people. I shook somebody's hand today and I felt guilty about it. I was like, oh my God, what are you doing touching somebody? But, it's just, I miss that. But I don't know, you kind of shared kind of a similar feeling about that, I think.
Yeah. So first, I just want to talk about your son getting married, because I remember you calling me on a Friday at like 8 a.m. because we're supposed to have a meeting, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, by the way, I can't come to the meeting because I just got a text from my son who said, like, what are you doing? And you're like, I'm getting ready for a meeting. And he said, well, we're getting married in an hour and a half. Can you come?
And I said,
oh.
I think I just like sped there. Yeah, I was there. I was there. I was in that party.
There's so many positives that are going to come out of this year, right? It's and it is, I don't want to say you feel guilty, right? Because we are incredibly blessed because we are healthy. Our family is healthy. Our friends are healthy. And though I think we've both been touched by COVID, it has turned out okay, right? So it's just so very blessed that we can say that. And because everyone has been able to stay safe, then it's much easier to look at your blessings, right? And count them all. And they're numerous. I mean, it's what you said about being able to spend time your way. And a lot of the pressures of people trying to pull you in different directions. And I mean, think of how exhausted you normally are this time of year because of all the Christmas parties.
Oh, yeah.
You feel obligated to attend. Part of you wants to attend. Part of you wants to just stay home, curled up on the couch, watching Hallmark movies. And now you can just stay home on the couch and watch Hallmark movies and you don't have to feel any guilt. So that's a benefit. The benefit of working from home. After I got over the guilt of working from home and was able to identify my boundaries, right? Initially, I felt like if I was at home, I had to be working. So I'd work from, 6:37 in the morning till 9, 10 o'clock at night. And that obviously is not sustainable. And I missed my car ride home because that was the psychological, barrier. All right. I'm in my car, I'm driving home. So when I get home, I'm not working anymore, and till after dinner, and you pop back online and, just check in, kind of make sure everything is good. It was constant work. So, but once I gave myself permission to not have to do those hours, now I love it. I was talking to Debbie Weber this morning. Again, we all had a meeting at 8:30. And I sent her a text a little after 8 and I said, do you have time to talk before the meeting quick? And she's like, yeah, sure. Give me 7 minutes, I think is what she said. And I said, I used to be in the office every day at 7:30 in the morning. Now I can hardly walk up steps to get here by 8:30. And it's not because I'm sleeping later, but now I have this whole different routine, where I do some yoga and I do some meditating and I do a little journaling. Like I did all the the stuff that everyone tells you you're supposed to do, but it's this lovely 2-hour morning ritual. And now I'm starting to feel stressed, like, okay, I'm gonna have to go back to the office one day. How am I gonna possibly make that happen?
You're gonna
Taking
have a
walks
yoga
in
room.
the afternoon. It's nice to be able to control your day a little differently, right? So you're
Yes,
still getting everything done. You're still probably working the same and or more hours, but you're not doing it from, 8:30 to 5.
right. I think, we've talked about this all year long, how going forward, everything is going to be changing. The scene, the landscape of corporate America is going to be changed by this forever. This is where, we take a palpable change, and
Yeah.
we'll all look back on this someday and remember it. But I think it's just, it's so interesting, the things that we found were so important to us that we treasure and value so much.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I think a lot of people are going with it. Um, I guess maybe we sort of touched on this, but let's talk about it. What surprised you the most about 2020?
I have absolutely no control. Right. I mean, that is something I had to tell myself over and over and over. You have no control over that. You have no control over that. We've had a saying for a very long time: control your controllables. It's a Bob Weber saying that's constantly ringing in my head: control your controllables. And we had control over so very little, but we grabbed on to what we could control.
Mhm,
And I think, like most people, in the roles that we're in, we're planners. And I'm very big on having a vision of, this is where I want to go, and here's the path that I'm going to take to get there. And all that just got thrown out the window. I still struggle, and now I'm stopping myself, and I'm getting much better at it. But I was worrying for a very long time of, what does our physical office look like? And right now, whatever, it doesn't matter. I don't need to worry about that because we're not going back to the office tomorrow.
right.
So again, focus on what's right in front of you right now. And I've always been a believer. And when I say always, I'm going to say going back to the recession was when I learned this, lesson, was that you focus on what is in front of you right now. And if you make the decision that's correct for the moment in front of you, the future takes care of itself, right? You can't control the future. It serves no purpose to worry about the past. That's done and behind you. So just focus on what's in front of you, make the right choice, and everything else will take care of itself.
Mhm. That's a good point. That's a very good point. I think, well, again, we've kind of bounced around it a little bit. Talk about your pleasant surprises for the year. I know we talked about how, we got to work from home and you have this new routine. Were there any other pleasant surprises for you this year?
Um, there's been a lot of pleasant surprises. Probably this goes back to one of the benefits is that we have a place in northern Wisconsin, and since we can kind of work from anywhere, I've been able to spend long stretches of time up there. And I'm a huge nature person. If I am in my happy place, I'm either going to be walking in the woods or I'm going to be on a paddleboard. And I've been able to, instead of run up for the weekend up north and then run back so that I can be at a meeting at our corporate resource center on Monday at 10, now I can just hang up there for a week or 10 days. And, back to the stress level, your stress just kind of dissipates because I'm in this happy place surrounded by trees and water. And it's been a huge blessing. A very pleasant surprise, as you said.
And now I want you to tell the story.
About my bird.
Yes. The best. Okay, so I'll give you the setup, which is on Facebook. Shawna posts a picture, and she's in the woods, and she's sitting there with her legs crossed and one foot over the other knee, and there's a little bird sitting on her boot. And I cannot get this image out of my mind. And I already have this picture of you as, I think we decided you were Cinderella, not Snow White. But
Yeah.
I have this, like, she's out there communing with the, nature, and this bird just comes and gently lands on you. So tell us about that.
I was working. Really hard on my phone, responding to a whole bunch of emails, dealing with some particular issue. And I just had my feet crossed, and this sweet little chickadee just came and sat on my foot. And I put my phone down and just spent some time staring at this sweet little birdie, and then he flew away. Yeah.
So I'll tell you my bird story from yesterday. I was in my office trying to work because we had office meeting yesterday. So I came in to do it. And all of a sudden I hear this, a crow just cawing and kind of just like, it was mad. And then I heard this, like, it was, there was this noise coming practically from my feet. And it was like this mean chattering noise. So I'm thinking, okay, there's a squirrel and a crow, and they're having some kind of a standoff. And I get up finally and look at it, and the crow looks at me, looks back down, remember, chews out the squirrel or whatever again, and then just walks away. Like, I'm, kind of watching the squirrel, watching me. And I was like, that is the weirdest thing I've ever had. So no little graceful, peaceful chickadee moment, but a mean crow moment. That's the difference between you and me.
I guess so. Well, you were at your office, not in the woods communing with nature.
I'd be afraid to be in the woods the way that crow treated me. I had my eyes pecked out or something. Okay, hobbies. Did you find a hobby? Are you a puzzle person? Are you a painter, a writer?
No, I am not artistic at all. My hobbies really, I get outside and I walk a ton. I've really become an avid hiker. I have this great app on my phone called the All Trails app. And I highly recommend it. I had no idea, even, in this southern Wisconsin area, how many amazing and beautiful trails there are. Wow. So I make it a point one day every weekend to try and get out and do at least 5 miles.
Oh, good for you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Good for you.
Well, that would probably be my main hobby at this point.
Well, that's a good hobby.
Yeah.
And the birds like you. So you got that going for you. Post-COVID, do you have any insight into, I lost track. Do you have any insight into how this changes First Weber's outlook on our business post-COVID? We don't really probably know yet, but do you have any insight?
I can only say that when, all of this happened, the true character of our company shone, right? I mean, it was just so evident that we went right to the core of who we were, and that worked. And so moving forward, post-COVID, I think we're literally the same company that we always have been. We're using this phrase when we talk about this, because we talk about post-COVID, what is stuff going to look like? We use the phrase doubling down all the time. We are doubling down. We are focusing on who we are as a company, on our core values, on what we do, on how we do it, on how we serve our agents so that they can better serve their clients. And things that are working, we're going to continue to tweak and improve. And things that aren't working, we're going to continue to the side. So, we're really just becoming more of who we already are. And I think, COVID has taught us very clearly what we bring to the table and the strength that we have. And we just will continue to focus on our strengths.
Yeah, I think that's great. Gosh, we're moving through this too fast. We got to slow down. I don't want to ask
like that we have to.
No, I just don't want to quit. I like talking to you. So I don't want to ask the last question yet, because the last question is kind of okay, we're out. Let's see. Do we have anything else? Do we have any questions? Any comments? Lots of comments.
The picture is amazing, and it's who you are. Someone says they love our app, and technology has made it so much easier.
Can you hear all of this?
No, she kind of sounds like the person from Snoopy. Wah, wah. Or Charlie
Okay.
Brown. Wah, 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 wah.
She has to, I'm going to make her repeat it loudly.
Someone said that the picture of you shows a picture of who you are.
Your
Is there a
picture
little
shows a
bird?
true feeling of who you are.
We have someone who likes the First Weber app,
Someone likes the First Weber app.
Good.
and one of our agents agrees that technology makes it so much easier.
Yes, technology. They agree. Technology makes it easier.
And of
Yeah.
course, the Nancy's great hair.
Is that my mom?
No, it was not your mom.
Oh my God.
What
My
was
mom's
that?
something about my hair. My mom's obsessed with my hair. So every time somebody asks about my hair, I'm like, is that my mom? So this one time on Facebook Live, it was like a promo that we had done. It was COVID, like it was early COVID, and we were not getting all the hairdressers were closed, and my salon sold this thing where you could do your roots. So I had someone touch up my roots for me, and then I did this video, and I had to pull my hair back in a band or something because I couldn't get it cut. And so my mom, bless her heart, is in her 80s, and she sees this picture and she writes on there. You have to understand, I can hear her voice in my head. What have you done to your hair? And I was like, oh my God, Mom, everyone can see, and you're my mom and I can't delete it. Now what do I do? Because she's trolling me. And so I actually had to call her one time and be like, okay, everyone can see that. You know, I had to explain it to her. And then I had to laugh because this weekend she did it to someone else in my family. And I was like, now you get it? Now do you people understand?
Right.
So yeah, so whenever somebody says something about my hair, I'm like, oh God, Mom's back. She's back on Facebook.
Good intentions.
Yes, we'll call it that.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
You know how you never lose that mom thing in your head? Like, oh, I'm getting scolded by my mom again. That's where I go. Does Shawna have questions for me? Did somebody want to know that?
No,
Oh.
yeah,
Oh.
that was me. I was someone.
Dawn is somebody, and she wants to know if you have questions for me.
I don't think so. It seems like we talk every day, right?
No, we do talk a
So,
lot.
mm-hmm.
I have to say, one comment I will make is I have never felt more as a manager. I have never felt more involved in collaboration than I have this year. And that has been rewarding for me, you know, to feel like your input is going somewhere and it's, you know, things are changing and happening, and you get to be you're like on this magic carpet ride. It's pretty fun. It's pretty fun.
Well, and again, it goes back to, we have a large footprint as a company, right? And so we've always struggled with how do we communicate well with people all over the state and all these different markets. And does it make sense to have Nancy drive an hour and a half to corporate for an hour meeting, which is what we always did, right?
Yes.
Well, now, and especially, I mean, at one point, how many times were we meeting a week?
Yeah.
3 times, it seems like.
Yes.
You know, we had so much communication. Initially, you know, we'd made the decision that we are going to over communicate because it's way better to be talking to people all the time and find out what they need and figure out how to solve it and give people direction, even if we don't really know what we're doing, right? To say we're working on it. You know, we understand that there's a need, there's a question, there's an issue. And we're talking about it, just to, I think, being completely transparent and eliciting feedback from people, right? The more diverse, and we have this as one of our core values, but the more diverse the people are that are working within First Weber, and the more input we get from them, the stronger we become as a company.
Right.
And that's another thing. I'm thinking about Antoinette. I don't know if she's still out there or not, right? But, you know, we've got some people that have really stepped up in leadership roles that COVID has allowed to have happen, and Antoinette is one of them, where we wouldn't have had that opportunity before. And we do have a really strong equity and engagement program that we're working on to make sure that we are hearing the voices of all of our agents with all sorts of different backgrounds, so that we can become a stronger company. And Antoinette is a part of that, but that is, I think, why you're feeling also, there's more collaboration. You have a voice. And it's this medium that allows that voice to be heard.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
I just, the tools that are open to me now as a manager to connect with my agents, these were things that I've been looking for years. It has just checked so many boxes for me.
Right.
And I think my agents too, like I hear them say frequently that they enjoy these touches. They enjoy, that sounded weird. They enjoy the video hangouts that we do. I think they enjoy feeling like me. They feel like they're being engaged with. They have a voice, that we can see them and hear them, and we know more about what their concerns are. I just think it's been quite a ride. It's been quite a ride this year. And I know a lot of times we say, well, it's been an unprecedented year, and it's been a tough year. And we can say those things because I think we're trying to be empathic with other people. But honestly, I think it's just been, for us, such a good year. I don't know too many people who are struggling real hard. And I'm going to be ashamed if it's any of my people, but also reach out if it is you. But, I think we're really tuned in to what we're hearing from people right now.
Right.
If that makes sense.
It does. And one of the things, so we're on Zoom right now, but as a company, we use Teams because it's part of our Microsoft suite, and the security protocols are higher, which is really important in our business. But you were ahead of the pack. So one of the things, and I've told you this so many times, one of the things that I love about you is how you are so creative, and you are always outside the box, and you are always trying to find a better way to do things. And you and I were doing Teams calls before COVID hit. So we were like practicing, right?
Yes.
And you had already started to take that medium to train your agents, because you have a large footprint, so to speak, that you're managing.
Yes.
And so it made me feel like a smarty pants when COVID happened. And I'm like, oh, I know how to do this stuff, because you already were forcing me to do it. Like you forced me to have a meeting with you on Teams back in January or February. So
it was, but it saved you time. It saved me time, and we still had that same quality experience. I think there's a lot to be said. Like I go back to what I said earlier, which is I really love to be in a room with people. I like, being there, helping solve the problem. But this video stuff is the next best thing to it. I've had a lot of meetings this year with clients over Zoom. And people who are thinking about getting into real estate. I've done a lot of meetings with people over Zoom. And I used to do radio, and I always tell people I used to do these radio ads in my market. And it was so fun because I would walk in somewhere and they'd be like, oh, I hear you on the radio all the time. You sound just like you do on the radio. And it's like, yeah. And, and that's the magic of, the video and the technology and the stuff that we're really starting to take advantage of, is that it really does put you right in somebody's space where they're ready to listen to you, or they want to just take a minute and just focus on what you have to say, which is really hard to do when you're at a Christmas party or a networking thing where you might have somebody's ear for 5 seconds and then they're off, So yeah, I think it's much better quality communication.
Well, and I think, this is something that will stay. Right. And I think you and I were talking about this. If you go, back in time when you needed to meet with a client to go over an offer to purchase or to do a listing contract, right? They came into the office, or you went to their house at 8, 9, whatever o'clock at night, because they wanted to have dinner and get their kids down. And then, so you got there at 8, and I'm sure you remember, as I do, at times going back to the office and faxing an offer at 11:30
Yeah.
midnight. And then you had to sit there and wait because it's 20 pages. It takes 15 minutes for it to fax.
And get proof. Don't
And
forget-
yeah, and have proof. And so then we got digital signatures, DocuSign, which is amazing, but you still are, you're having a phone call, which is good. And then you're doing DocuSign, you're saving people time. Well, now you've got the best of both worlds where you can see someone, you can read their body language, you can see if they're struggling, and then you can still get them the document to sign electronically, but you're not forcing this inconvenience necessarily. So
Right. And screen sharing, I mean, that's been a game changer too, where you can, even for me working with agents or clients, to be able to share my screen and go to a part of the offer and go, this thing right here, here's what this means. And if you want it, or if you don't want it in there, I mean, it's such better communication.
Mhm.
I feel like the Jetsons in a way. I'm just missing that really
Rosie.
fast. Yeah.
I'm missing
Yeah.
Rosie the maid.
Yeah, I am missing the maid.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right, so we are getting long here. I am going to go to my last question. Do you have a message to share with agents and employees of First Weber that you would like to share tonight on my show?
I think I've really kind of talked about this, but my basic message is that I just think they're all amazing. Again, how everyone has stepped up to do what they needed to do, how everyone has cared for everyone else. When this happened, again, our industry stopped. There was a literal standstill, and it was a bit frightening, but never once did we wonder about the dollars. Our focus was always on our people. And at one point, I was having a conversation with Tammy Medente, who I haven't really talked about, but she's a counterpart of mine in the Milwaukee area. And her and Debbie Weber and I were talking about, what other kind of training. Our training has gone through the roof this year. And again, it's because of this venue. But we were having conversations about, maybe we don't need to just do real estate training. Maybe we need to do, meditation. Maybe let's figure out if we can do art classes for kids. We never quite got to that point, but we were throwing everything on the table. At one point we were talking about, okay, if the parents about 3:00 are going to start to lose it because they're trying to homeschool their kids and do their job and, clean their house and everything else, can we entertain kids for an hour so parents can go outside and get a fresh air, drink a beer or something, to relax. So the focus has always been on the people. And we're just really, really lucky to be surrounded by a ton of talent. And I don't know, makes this world a great, big, lovely place.
It really does. I think, you've used the word a couple times about family, and you hear from time to time people will talk about, well, my work family, or, whatever. But when we have talked for years about the First Weber family, and it is what it feels like, that there's people out there that care about you. They care about the outcome. I can still remember things that Bob Weber and Jim Imhoff said to me years ago that have stuck with me. And it was that kind of advice, or that mentorship that we get. And I've never, ever seen that fail.
Yeah.
It continues and it thrives. And I hear, like, when we could get together for like award ceremonies and things like that, you would hear people talk about, how well respected our leadership is. And that is something that I just never get over. And, it trickles down. It makes everybody like, I'm a better manager because I have great leaders that listen. I hope my agents feel like they have a good manager because they have a manager who's watching and listening and trying to look out for them. So I think it does. I have not met one person in our company that I don't think has that value.
Yeah.
So proud of that.
True. And I love what you say about work family versus family. And you hear the same term with work friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I have work friends. I have friends.
Yeah.
Right. And how lovely is it that every day I'm so excited to talk to my friends, right? It's what I do all day long.
Right.
So,
And that's that power of positivity.
mhm. Yeah.
I think it's just, it's like a recipe for, I don't know if I want to call it a recipe. I always tease Dawn about magic. And I think there is a certain amount of magic to it. You know, there's got to be a certain amount of respect, a certain amount of, you know, creativity or just letting go of that control, like you talked about. To the collaboration only works that way. And that's what I see as a true feather in our cap,
Yeah.
is that word. So, all right. Well, we got through this, and
You did.
I don't know, do you still feel nervous?
No, good.
Okay.
Vodka. I'm good.
That's good. All right. Well, I think we should call it a night. Thank you for doing this with me. I
Well,
really,
thank
really
you.
appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
It was fun. Maybe someday you'll come back and tell another bird story.
I could. I'll do what I
Or
can do.
manatee.
Or manatee story.
When we can travel again.
Yes.
All right. Well, now comes the fun part, because we have to figure out how to end this little story. So I'm going to say goodbye. And Shawna, thanks again.
Goodbye.